Everybody, and thank you for attending. This is Devonport City Council meeting for 24th of June 2024. Devonport City Council acknowledges and pays respects to the Palawa Pakana people as the traditional and original owners of Lutruwita and continuing custodians of this land on which we gather. We also acknowledge and pay our respects to the Tasmanian Aboriginal elders past and present. I advise that it's council policy to record council meetings in accordance with council's digital recording policy. This recording will be made available to the public on council's website for a minimum period of 6 months. The meeting will also be live streamed on council's YouTube channel. We move on to apologies. A notable absence at the moment is Councillor Bonnie, but he is aiming to be here very, very soon. Other than that, we have a full attendance. Thank you, councillors. What I'll do, though, is I'll move on to declarations of interest, but when Councillor Viney comes in, I will ask him if he needs to declare anything as well. But if there are any, please. Councillor Martin.
5-2.
Oh, sorry.
5-2.
Hold on. Councillor Hollister. Councillor Martin.
Thank you. I declare interest in item 5.2 as President of Tasmanian Masters Games. I'll leave the room. Additionally, item 5.4 from Chair of the Parent Action Group for the Northwest Support School.
And staying or sorry.
Leaving the room. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Hollister.
I'll be leaving the room.
For 5.2.
Yes.
Thank you. Any further declarations? No, thank you very much. Item 3 we'll move on to. So 3.1 is confirmation of minutes. If I could have a move of the recommendation, please.
So move.
Thank you, Councillor Murphy. And a seconder, please.
Second.
Councillor Ennis, sorry. Councillor Murphy.
Need a procedure, man.
Thank you. Councillor Ennis.
Nothing further, Mayor.
Thank you. Any further comments, statement, questions? No. Councillor Murphy, close.
Consider it closed.
Thank you. All those in favour?
Aye.
Against? Carried unanimously. Thank you. 3.2 is public question time. 3.2.1, oh, sorry. 3.2.1 is responses to questions raised at prior meetings. There are none. 3.2.2 is questions on notice from the public. There is a mover of the recommendation there. If I could have a move, please.
So moved.
Councillor Murphy and seconder, please.
Second.
Councillor Sheehan, thank you. Councillor Murphy.
Mayor, all the responses are there that have been produced and considered for endorsement.
Thank you. Councillor Sheehan.
Yeah, there was a lot there.
Thank you.
Sorry.
Microphone. You're right.
There was a lot there to read through. Thank people that put their questions to the GM, and also thank the GM for his considerable time in answering all those questions. Nothing further to add.
Thank you. Any further comment or questions from the councillors? No. Councillor Murphy, close, please.
I consider it closed, Mayor.
Thank you. All those in favour?
Aye.
Against? Carried unanimously. Thank you. So item 3.2.3 is questions without notice from the public. I do note that we have some people in our gallery tonight, so if you would like to take your turns, please go up to the podium, state your name and address and your question. Hello.
Hello, Mayor and councillors. My name is Vicky Sharman and I live at 136 North Benton Street.
Thank you.
My home's obviously opposite the parkland with a proposal to house netball and basketball use. My questions and my comments are about that. I've been diligently reading every detail I can about this proposal. And to be honest, I feel like our group is going down a rabbit hole scrutinising every detail of this proposal when the main issues of parking just remain unresolved. Indeed, I decided to address the council because Shane Warren has tried to get answers for our group. And when council's not able to answer the questions to suit or to address our concerns, I really think that some integrity is lost. and integrity builds trust. One of the first things I said when this first started was, oh, I trust the processes. Back to the rabbit hole. I'm interested to know why the Devonport Infrastructure Master Plan, which is well used, as you can see, was so important. It was to me and a young couple who live at the end of the street who made a decision to buy, or in my case, sell my house at North Street based on that plan. So question one, what was the purpose of the Devonport Infrastructure Master Plan and who was the intended audience? On page 3 of the Infrastructure Master Plan, projects across the city are detailed succinctly. Terms such as upgrade, expand, investigate, review, support, develop, determine are used, except for the East Devonport Recreation and Function Centre at Girdleston Park. The details aren't vague. Instead, it says construct additional multi-indoor and outdoor spaces, creating one integrated sport and community precinct. On page 42, the key infrastructure issues for that area state sports are at capacity due to availability of courts. The key issues for the other sports may say limiting growth, ageing buildings, but not at capacity. So, question 2, why wasn't the plan listing future projects by priority adhered to? And why did the Devonport Football Club, Devonport Cricket Club, netball and basketball suddenly become the priority? Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Sharman, we'll get back to you in writing with those 2 questions. And have you got a copy of those for us at all? No? All good. Sorry. No, you're right. Easy. Thank you. Mr. Warren.
Yeah, good evening.
Good evening.
Shane Warren, Unit 2, 134 North End Street. What's been intriguing, this is about the overall proposal there, what's been intriguing me, the time between the council elections in October 2022 and the May 2023 workshop, where assessment criteria scored the Oval higher than the East Devonport Rec Centre. I sense that the tail began wagging the dog. It was in effect the Devonport Football Club, in collusion with Basketball Tas and the Devonport Netball Association, convinced council that the Oval was the preferred site for the multi-court stadium. It seems the assessment criteria at the May 2023 workshop were fabricated in part. This potential conflict of interest between council, the general management and those sporting clubs begs the question of who was the architect behind the change, which as a consequence appeared to have resulted in the creation of the Sporting Infrastructure Priority Investment Plan. I'm not suggesting that anything illegal occurred, but whatever did was certainly unethical and unacceptable to the community. The question, Mayor, is,
Yes.
can you confirm or deny whether any conflicts of interest were made known to you during this process between those sporting clubs and council, including general management?
Thank you. I'll get back to you in writing.
Hello,
Hello.
my name is Robin Barr and I live at 76 North Street, Devonport. I'm part of the group concerned about the development of the Oval. Whilst trying to follow the issues using the DCC website, I found it frustrating and difficult to navigate and manoeuvre. When looking through the agenda, the public can see the council have provided answers to something, but to get clarity, you have to continually flick back to find the questions. It just puts another layer of difficulty in following the processes. My question, could the Devonport City Council organise answers to follow the public questions so it is succinct and easy to follow? Thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions from the gallery? Mr. Gardam.
Madam Chair. Malcolm Gardam, 411 Drive, Mindetta. I've got 3 questions, Madam Chair. Question 1, this is reference to the General Manager's written response to my question 2 on notice on page 10 of tonight's agenda. My question was based on an earlier response relating to waterfront parkland contract variation registers previously provided by Council being the subject matter of an RTI request. The GM's response at the time was, yes, the meeting included finalisation of outstanding variations, and as a result, the relevant contract documentation will follow. The GM's response in the agenda referencing his earlier advice is, the comment to which you refer was advising that documentation will follow between VOS and Council, and not that you will be provided a copy. GM, it appears to me that you were going to send the documentation to me, but you have changed your mind. Therefore, the question to the GM is, considering that Council had provided both 60 Degrees, which is the Council Superintendent, and VOS Construction's variation registers, albeit not the final versions as requested in the initial RTI request that I made, why will Council now not provide the final updated versions of the registers already provided?
Through you, Mayor, just to clarify, the RTI from Mr. Gardner came in, all of the information at that point in time was provided. The follow-up question was about those outstanding variations, and absolutely the documentation had to be completed between VOS and Council. That doesn't mean you automatically provide yourself with a copy. And if you continued, the letter also said that, or the response also said that you're entitled to request that, and if that request has come in, you'll be provided with information. An RTI request can only be, it's for a point in time, and the available information at that point in time was provided.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Question 2.
Yes.
Further to question 1 above and included in the same GM's response, it states, if you are looking for any of this information, an RTI request can be made detailing the information you are seeking. Now, the initial RTI request was for documented evidence being final versions of the said variation registers. The ones I got just weren't final, and I can understand a little bit why. My question to the GM is, will he save us both an unnecessary waste of time and just confirm here and now if any subsequent RTI request will be rejected, as is Council generally adopted default position, and thereby knowingly sending the request off to the Ombudsman, where it will take about 3 years to complete an external review of his decision to reject the request and possibly legal advice with costs at ratepayers' expense if the finding is adverse. So, will I get the information? I can't see why I need to put another RTI in when I've already got one. They're asking for the same information.
Are you happy for? Sorry.
Through you, Mayor, look, it's inappropriate to mix the public question time process with the RTI process. Come to Council and ask public questions, we'll provide answers, or follow the RTI process. We don't want to cross between the two. So, look, if there's an RTI lodged for additional information, we're more than comfortable to provide that, provided it fits within the Act.
Provide the information in accordance
right.
with the Act,
And,
which may well be rejected. There's some aspects
We don't know.
Okay.
Through you, Mayor, I might go on to say that the variation register you're talking about, there's nothing there that I don't think is exempt, and if that RTI request comes in, I'm sure it'll be looked at favourably.
Okay. Third question, reference to the General Manager's written response.
Mr. Gardner, just bear with me. Is there anyone else wanting to ask a question? I'll just find out if there's, just bear with me. Oh,
yeah.
Just bear. Anyone else asking a question from the public gallery tonight? It's all good. Thank you. You're right.
Okay,
Thank you.
Reference to the General Manager's written response to my question 3, again on page 10 of tonight's agenda. My question sought as to which variations and elements of the work the meeting between the GM and the VOS CEO had finalised. The GM obliged with the meeting related to variation claim 47. Variation claim 47 is listed as being elevated walkway and pad footing founding depth deleted on the Council's appointed superintendent's register with a 0 value, and it's listed as elevated walkway pad footings pending in review on the VOS variation register with a value of $141,658.92. That was why I'd asked for the latest versions. These obviously weren't completed versions of the register. So my question to the GM is, will he explain why a variation for works clearly completed early in the contract has taken so long to resolve? And what is the value of the now agreed variation claim 47?
Thank you, Roddy.
Yeah, right.
Well, go back to your writing, if that's all right, Mr. Gowan.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Manager.
Thank you. Well, that being public question time, thank you very much for that. We'll move on to item 3.3, questions on notice from councillors. There are no questions received. We'll move into the notices of motion. Item 3.4.1 is the relocation of Ferry Pontoon. I'm assuming our mover will be Councillor Murphy. Thank you. And a seconder, please.
So second.
Thank you, Councillor Moore. Councillor Murphy.
Thank you, Mayor. As you can see, the notice of motion is as that council explore the opportunity to relocate Ferry Pontoon owned by council situated on the western side of the Mersey River, further north in the river towards Muscle Rock, and investigate the potential funding of this relocation through the Better Fishing Funding Program. As most may be aware or not be aware, we have a valuable piece of infrastructure that's underutilised. The current location of the Ferry Pontoon on the western side of the Mersey River had served a vital role for the community and visitors alike. However, due to the cessation of the Trans River ferry service, there may be significant benefits to relocating the pontoon further north towards Muscle Rock for the purposes of a public fishing platform. These benefits could include improved accessibility, enhanced user experience, and better alignment with other recreational and tourism activities in the area. Exploring this location or relocation would involve assessing the feasibility and potential benefits of moving the pontoon, engaging with stakeholders, including local fishermen, recreational users, and the broader community to gather input and support, evaluating environmental, logistical, and safety considerations associated with the proposed new location, identifying and applying for relevant funding opportunities through the Better Fishing Funding Program to support the costs associated with the relocation project. This motion aims to initiate the necessary steps to explore and potentially realise these improvements, aligning with Council's commitment to enhancing community infrastructure and amenities. Interestingly enough, sort of arrived back at the Devonport boat ramp yesterday morning after a few hours out the front chasing the tuna, and it's really displeasing when you come back in and you see a father with his son fishing off the boat ramp pontoon, and they continually have to move, and it becomes a safety risk. And I think that this proposal, this notice of motion, would go a long way to resolving a problem that there isn't too many places along the Mersey River where parents can take their kids to fish safely. And this provides us, considering it's council-owned infrastructure, there is grant funding available. And I think it'd be a valuable asset, especially in that particular precinct where we do see a lot of people taking a risk and fishing off a piece of infrastructure that's not designed to be fished off. So I commend that there, and I await further comment from my fellow councillors.
Thank you. Councillor Moore. Sorry, can I just, Councillor Viney, I do apologise. I was meant to ask you if you had any declarations of interest when you come in. I do apologise for that. Thank you for being here. Thank you. Councillor Moore.
I thank Councillor Murphy for this motion. I'm happy to support it. It is for investigating funding, which there obviously is a source that it may come from. It's also to explore opportunities. Why would we have an asset that we can't access to the public and is not being used for any purpose? I'm very happy to submit that we do some kind of investigation to see what the costs would involve for the council.
Thank you. Further comments or questions from my fellow councillors? Councillor Hollister, sorry.
I'd like to see the new pontoon there, probably about 3 times as big as the existing one we own. It would be fantastic, but dealing with Tasport, it's going to be interesting. Knowing quite a few skippers that are in and out of the port, most of them are saying it won't be possible, so I'll wait with bated breath to see what the role of the investigation is.
Thank you. Councillor Shane.
Thank you, Mayor. Yeah, strongly endorse the motion, Councillor Murphy. Literally, we were discussing this a couple of weeks ago. I was chatting with some people at the farmers markets and asking them, you know, what they wanted from council, and bang on. I think you've already been in discussion with the same people I was talking to, but they said, you know, there is just nowhere safe to take young kids, and I think it's emerging as a bit of a focus for this particular council as to that sort of cohort that are too old for the bluff swings, you know, the teenage group, but want a bit of freedom and something to do in Devonport. If we can add that to our list of things that we're providing for them, I think it would be excellent. So, yeah, strongly support the motion.
Thank you.
Sorry.
Oh,
I did.
is the voice on? Sorry. Councillor Martin.
Thank you, Mayor. Yes, I'll be supporting the motion. I believe that the council-owned Western Pontoon is currently situated at the narrowest part of the Mersey River, and with the new spirits, etc., coming in, set to arrive, I think it would be advantageous to relocate them. Certainly, recreational fishing is huge in Tasmania, so it would provide a great platform for that to occur. But I must be remiss of me if I didn't mention this. Moving the council-owned Western Pontoon further north towards Muscle Rock was actually itemised by Kedge Engineering as a nice to have in the effort to save and continue the Mersey ferry service. It's a pity that such foresight was not applied at the time of the effort to help save the historic service. As to the Better Fishing Fund program, submissions for both large projects up to 300,000 and small projects up to 30,000 are available. These may include installing or upgrading pontoons, jetties or other structures for recreational fishing. However, projects will not be considered if they do not provide clear benefits for recreational fishers. I think this pontoon would do that, seeing there's no other use for it. And if successful in gaining such funding, the Western Pontoon would certainly be centred around recreational fishing, but with comments made as to future repurposing of the pontoon for use as a ferry, for use by a ferry vessel, for the safety of passengers and suggested ferry vessel, recreational fishing may need to be restricted or moved from the pontoon. And once we do this, to start with, it would be a big ask once they have been granted access to the pontoon. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Ellis.
Thank you. There might not be many people who would remember the joys of fishing off the wharf. Some time ago, that I used to take my family down there. Very enjoyable, but in the wisdom of Tasports now that we can't have access to the wharf. So I think the fact that people love to take their young families or young people or any people like to go and fish, this would be an ideal use of this piece of infrastructure that's currently not being used. And hopefully with further investigation and some additional funding from that group, we can make good use of it. So I'll be supporting.
Thank you. Got a comment? Councillor Wilczynski.
Thank you, Mayor. I applaud Councillor Murphy for putting this forward, but I also made a comment with Councillor Martin that it was a part of the ferry, the use of the ferry. So a little bit of a loss, but again, and if we can use it for community purpose, then I think it's a good way to go. So just I'll be in favour.
Thank you. Councillor Viney.
Thank you, Mayor.
Yeah,
thank you, Mayor, and thank you, Councillor Murphy, for putting the motion to the council. I see people fishing off Muscle Rock frequently. I think it's a great spot. A lot of teenagers, a lot of younger people, a lot of families. So I think it's a great idea to have more spots to encourage this sort of recreation in the city. And I think it makes sense to utilise the infrastructure that's not being used at the moment. As to the mention about Kedge, using it and their request for moving it, I think if you're going to mention that, Kedge also requested a lot of other things as well. It wasn't just moving the pontoon. There was more infrastructure that may have been required. So take the comments from the other councillors on board, but I will be supporting the motion as it is.
Thank you. Further comments? Councillor Hollister, you got a question?
Question, yes. Has council still got the plans, the original plans when there was actually we looked at a wharf in that area?
We'll take that on notice.
Through you now, I'm not aware that we've done any detailed plans. Check me.
All good. Further comment, questions? No, I commend Councillor Murphy for this. It certainly has merit. Obviously, an investigation needs to be put in for us to find out more about whether this is feasible or not. If we can add something to the community and make it safer for the kids, it's a wonderful thing. So hopefully we can get some fruition forward from here. So I will ask Councillor Murphy to comment.
Thank you, Mayor, and thank you, fellow councillors, for your comments. And I agree with Councillor Viney with respect to the request from Kedge for the relocation of the ferry. That would have come at a cost to the ratepayers, whereas this notice of motion is actually looking at external funding for the relocation.
Councillor Martin.
Sorry, Councillor Martin's comments. But as Councillor Viney pointed out, there's a lot of other requests from Kedge, but I think the point needs to be made that we are seeking external funding. So there's pretty much, if we can attract that funding, there's no cost to the ratepayers of Devonport for it. So again, it's an exciting opportunity, and I look forward to seeing how it progresses.
Thank you. All those in favour?
Aye.
Against? Carried unanimously. Thank you very much. 3.4.2 is the next notice of motion from Councillor Murphy. Investigation installation of solar safety lights at zebra crossings. If I could have the mover of that motion, please, to say. You will move that?
I will move the motion, Mayor.
Thank you. And the second, please.
Second.
Councillor Shane. Thank you. Councillor Murphy.
Thank you, Mayor. It's there for all to see. This is a motion to investigate the feasibility of installing suitable safety lights in the signs located at zebra crossings situated on Formby Road, immediately adjacent to Haynes Park and immediately in front of the Parramatta Centre in Brook Street, and install the safety lights upon confirmation of their feasibility and effectiveness in the improving of safety and awareness. This notice of motion, Mayor, I'm bringing based on a number of conversations and requests from members of the community and personal experience. I have spent a fair bit of time walking from East Devonport back to Devonport in the last 7 months on a daily basis, and have noticed that, especially early in the morning, that that section of Formby Road, especially on through Haynes Park, is extremely busy. And on a number of occasions, sometimes you've got to be very careful crossing that road because the traffic sometimes forgets there's 2 zebra crossings there. So, in essence, sort of having travelling around the state, I was recently in Launceston and travelling down Charles Street, where I observed that the Launceston City Council has a similar type of crossings to the ones that we have in Haynes Park and Frontier and Brook Street, and attached to those, on top of those 2 crossings, 2 orange flashing lights, just to create awareness that there is something there that drivers need to be aware of or need to take caution thereof. Hence the reason for this notice of motion. Obviously, the council officers provided a number of comments with respect to the notice of motion. So I would like now to put that out for debate with my fellow councillors.
Thank you. Councillor Shane.
Thank you, Mayor. Again, like to thank Councillor Murphy for his very considered motion. There is a bit more traffic than you'd expect, foot traffic along Formby Road, so I think it's a really good idea. Thank you.
Thank you. Further comment from the councillors? Councillor Martin.
Thank you, Mayor. And yes, traveling and walking around that area, there are a lot of locals that use that elevated walkway across the road, pedestrian crossing, I should say. But there's drivers and pedestrians seemingly a lot hesitant as to whether they can cross or whether they should drive through, which I think that hesitation causes problems in the full ability and utilisation of that of those elevated pedestrian crossings. And I'm supportive that council should look to investigate the feasibility of installing such traffic lights, and such investigation could be undertaken as part of the CBD traffic survey and in line what might be suggested with more. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Ennis, did you? I'm sorry.
Yep. Up to you.
Oh, Councillor Holmes.
Yes, I'm supporting the sidewalk through there quite a lot, and quite often cars just don't stop. So it's only a matter of time someone's going to get bowled over if they haven't already been.
Thank you. Councillor Ennis.
Yes, I too comment on from personal experience. It's a little bit like putting a fence around the river down near the park. People discussed at some stage, you know, people will fall into the river because there's no fence. This is a bit like that. People, you know, I've been around. These are new crossings. Yes, they haven't been there that long. People are getting much better at being aware of them and stopping. As a pedestrian, I'm also aware that I don't walk out straight on the road without looking and taking care. And, you know, it's a bit of personal responsibility, and families have to ingrain into their children how to be safe, etc. And I'm sure when people do take their kids down there, that's what they do. And so I don't think, as far as I know, I haven't seen an accident, but I have seen some cars go through. But I have stopped and waited, but then the next car stops. I mean, it's not everyone. There is an occasional person, I assume, would go through, but I don't know. It'll be interesting. I mean, this is to investigate. So yeah, let's investigate and see. But you know, that's my comment.
Thank you. Further comment from councillors? I certainly think that there's such a lot of work done for the Living City project about this road. Do we close it? Do we leave it open? What kind of traffic is going to be going through there? There was all those concerns right from the beginning because of that area, because it is a very, very busy road. And we have emergency services use it, and there's lots of things going on. So these things will all come into play with an investigation. So I think it's only has merit that we let it be investigated and see what information comes and is reported back to us as a council, and then we can go from there. Thank you. Councillor Murphy, to close.
Thank you, Mayor. Interestingly enough, it was only a matter of weeks ago that council actually had one of its visual signboards in that precinct promoting the fact that there is pedestrian crossings ahead. So it was just a continuation from what I actually observed from that with respect to other best practice things that I've seen around the state. So thank you very much for others' comments, and consider it closed.
Thank you. All those in favour?
Aye.
Against? Carried unanimously. Thank you. Moving on to 4 planning authority matters. We now intend to act as a planning authority under the Land Use Planning and Approvals Act 1993 for the consideration of agenda item 4.1. 4.1 being 133 Middle Road, Wyandotte. The information is all there from our councillors. The recommendation is there. If I could have a mover, please.
So moved.
Thank you, Councillor Murphy. And a second? Councillor Murphy, Councillor Holster, thank you. Councillor Murphy, too.
Thank you, Mayor. This is merely addressing a number of issues that have been brought to council's attention with respect to the previous resolution of council. The Planning Commission identified 2 additional representations which were, for whatever reason, were not received to council during that public notice period. Additionally, the Commission also determined it doesn't have the jurisdiction with respect to this particular matter, and to act to assess the permit component of this application. Subsequently, the subdivision, in their belief, is discretionary. So therefore, it doesn't rely upon the approval of the draft amendment. And as such, the application for subdivision is no longer a component of the application. In addition, the Commission directed Council to show the northern area as the environmental management zone, amend the priority vegetation zone, which has all been done. So realistically, the responses to the additional 2 representations don't really change the outcome. So realistically, this is merely procedural now.
Thank you. Councillor Hollister?
Yes, I'm supporting this. A bit like further a little bit south from here, that this, I've probably looked at a couple of planning applications over the years and they've been approved, but they haven't gone and been developed. So hopefully this one will get off the ground, and there's quite a lot of appeals, and I think the responses have been adequate. So I fully support the recommendation.
Thank you. Any further comment or questions from the councillors? Councillor Viney?
Thank you, Mayor. I think there's a section that's worth reading out verbatim about the open space and environmental management zones, and that's it allows for retention of approximately 7.2 hectares of bush within the 8.7 hectares of land being transferred into these zones. It's been mentioned in previous meetings by other councillors, and a lot of the representations are sort of with concerns about the loss of vegetation. I think that shows that there will be quite a bit of push on the time.
Thank you. Further comment? Councillor Murphy, close, please.
Thank you, Mayor. Just following on from Councillor Viney's statement there, in the application, those trees could have been removed if it had been a nursing home. So realistically, this is a good outcome for the environment, but also a good outcome for potential growth opportunities within the community. So having said that, Mayor, it's nothing further.
Thank you. All those in favour?
Aye.
Against? Carried unanimously. Moving on to the section of reports. And the big one, 5.1, the annual plan and budget estimates. We have done a lot of work. The first one there is that we have recommendation of A, B and C. If I could have a mover, please.
So moved.
Councillor Murphy, and a seconder, please.
Second.
Councillor Martin. Sorry, thank you. Councillor Murphy.
Thank you, Mayor. Well, tonight we stand on the brink of showcasing this council's unwavering dedication to the wellbeing of our community's ratepayers. We are navigating a landscape fraught with challenges, yet we remain steadfast in our commitment to making decisions that serve the best interests of our community and citizens. It's often said, and rightly so, that our rates are high. I won't deny this, but let's take a moment to reflect on our remarkable home. Comparing Devonport City now to 5 years ago, it's clear we've been on a transformative journey. The value of our homes has soared, and this upward trend shows no signs of slowing. More importantly, our city has evolved into a vibrant, bustling hub of activity, a testament to the progress we've made together. More people want to work, rest and play right here in Devonport. We've also taken heed of the missteps of our neighbouring councils, ensuring that we have learnt from their experiences. The ratepayers of Devonport deserve confidence in their elected representatives, and we have pledged to act in their best interest, and the annual plan and budget here tonight is evidence of that, and of the fact that we will not be swayed by media sensationalism or clickbait distractions in the decision-making process. Once again, tonight's proposed annual plan and budget for the agenda speaks volumes about our dedication and foresight. This council is set to inject over $40 million into the local construction sector, powerful boost to our economy. Moreover, the past 3 years, our rate increases combined have consistently stayed below the statewide CPI, demonstrating our commitment to financial prudence. This strategy has not gone unnoticed. The broader community recognises our efforts, and more significantly, private investors are taking note and choosing Devonport as their investment destination. Their confidence in our city fuels further development, creating an even better, more dynamic Devonport for all. Council operates like a business, with the ratepayers as our valued shareholders. Tonight's proposed annual plan budget and rates recommendations are crafted with their interests at heart. We are one of few local government areas in this state achieving a surplus, securing the financial foundation necessary to sustain and enhance our beautiful city. This surplus, whilst modest, ensures we can continue to grow while maintaining the essential services and infrastructure that define Devonport. Together, we are building a future that honours our past achievements whilst paving the way for continued prosperity and vibrancy. We must thank the community for its trust and support as we move forward in this exciting journey. I would like to congratulate our council officers, my fellow councillors, on the process in presenting the annual plan and budget, and now commend the 24-25 annual plan and budget options A, B and C for adoption.
Thank you, Councillor Murphy. Councillor Martin.
Thank you. I don't think Councillor Murphy left much to talk about at my end, but certainly endorse his comments about Devonport being a great place to live, work and play. And the investment the council has been making over the last decade has created a vast amount of employment and activity in our city and has attracted many, many businesses. And because we've had our low rates, below the CPI, as Councillor Murphy has indicated, our city is the envy of many other local governments, not only throughout Tasmania, but throughout Australia. The Living City project hasn't been just a project, it's been a vision for our city on how we may move forward into the future and create prosperity for our ratepayers and our community itself. So I thank very much council officers and fellow councillors in the work they have done in bringing this budget for consideration. Thank you.
Thank you. Further comment, Councillor Shane? Oh, I'm sorry. She can answer.
Yeah, look, the two previous councillors have covered most of the points I wanted to make. I'll say it again though, our CPI increases less than the state average over the last 3 years. That's an outstanding effort, because while there are some exciting bits in the budget, both councillors have talked about the sports infrastructure that we're rolling out. What I found exciting was the amount we're spending on roads and boring bits. But those are the bits that we need to invest in consistently and thoroughly every year so that we have a scaffold for growth. So, again, just echoing Councillor Martin's sentiments, really like to thank the council staff and my fellow councillors for the budget process again this year. Any rate rise that the business owners like myself look at, but I know firsthand that the funds will be used widely and hopefully be used to generate more income for our local businesses and families. So, recommend the budget. Thank you.
Thank you. Further comment from the councillors? Councillor Ennis.
Thank you. Yeah, I too agree with the previous speakers, and thank you very much to the council officers for putting a lot of work into ensuring that we come up with a budget that looks pretty good. A couple of the things that I would say that part of our budget, unfortunately, is we pay the urban fire district rate, which is something that people not so far away from here don't pay. And so that becomes, and people look and say, oh, look at that and look at this. And that's because we support, and it should be probably a fairer process of supporting the fire brigade. But we just live with what we are because the state government thinks that's the way it should be at the moment. Anyway, that aside, I think it's really good. So any time we have to make an increase, it's understandable that people will be hurting, and we understand that. But everyone is hurting, I think, at this stage, and for us to keep our increases to a minimum but be sensible within our budget, I think it's a good move. So I'll be supporting. Thank you.
Thank you. Further comment? Councillor Hollister.
Yes, I'll concur with everything that's been said so far. I think the next 2 or 3 years are going to be extremely exciting in our area. Developments that are in the pipeline. Hopefully some will be off, starting to develop before the end of this year. They're going to be just as exciting as what the Living City has been so far. Also, just referring to the urban fire levy. The government doesn't want to change things there. There's 26,000 odd people here paid the urban levy, and 50 odd thousand that surround us don't pay it. And yet our fire brigade more or less, or does, turn up at the Latrobe, Alderson before their volunteers can. So really, it's not fair, and that should be changed. But votes count. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Viney.
Yeah. Thank you, Mayor. I think everyone's probably well aware in the newspapers recently, there's been a lot of reporting on the rate increases around the region along the coast. And I think whenever I read those stories, I always feel a bit better about living in Devonport and being a part of this council, because I think we're showing a really strong way of being with our financial performance and our responsibility to the ratepayers. So although there is a rate increase, I mean, it's inevitable. The rates have gone up everywhere. I think the two figures that I keep coming back to is that the 3-year increase, general rate increase for Devonport over that 3-year period, 10.3%, as opposed to the Hobart CPI 15.7%. I mean, that's significant. That's significant, and to be able to show what the council's been able to do while keeping rate increases as modest as we can, I think is a real pat on the back for us, if I can congratulate myself for my very small contribution to that. I'd like to thank the council officers for the work they've put in putting together the annual plan and the estimates, and giving us a strong foundation of what we're going to do for the next 12 months. And I think it'd be remiss not to mention it, for the average residential property with that 4.5% increase, we're looking at approximately an increase of $2 a week, which I hope will be reasonable for the ratepayers. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you. Further comments? Councillor Vilcheski.
Just that I concur with everyone else, and it's been a hard road the last few months, but it's every year, and I'm pleased to be on board, and hopefully we can make it successful further on. So well done, everyone, for your efforts and work.
Thank you. Further comments? So I really do believe that we're going to be one of the lowest in the state. We're probably one of the lowest in the northwest. I think there's only 2 that are below us currently, and I know it's early days yet. I think that holds us in good stead. We're a very sensible council. Every single time I've been part of this budget process, it blows me away about how we do understand we need to be a council that can go forward and still prove ourselves and be around and not fall into administration, not have problems where we can't produce big, bright, shiny things at times when needed. And I think we're proving that well and above, and we're batting above our average. And I'm very, very proud of all the work that has been done from this council team to previous council teams, but also the staff do a remarkable job. They work so hard to bringing all the information to us and keeping it very much reasonable for us to get our heads around what we need to make decisions on, because we do not do this lightly. Please understand out there that if anyone is struggling to pay their rates, we have a hardship policy, and we are very happy for you to contact council if you need to. And then I will ask Councillor Murphy to close.
Thank you, Mayor. I think some may see it as that, we thank the staff for doing their job. I think it needs to be noted that there's a significant amount of buy-in from the staff when presenting the budget for us councillors to consider, and the input that we go through our workshops. And I think that's a testament to the culture of the organisation. I think that's a massive positive to any community when you have a council that is united and working together and is able to achieve outcomes that is not seen anywhere else in the state, and that's been recognised nationally. And I think moving forward, and again, as I stated before, this is the evidence that supports that. And I think without that, we potentially could be in a different situation. So nothing further, man.
Thank you. All those in favour?
Aye.
Against? Carried unanimously. Thank you. We're moving on to 5.2. Thank you, Councillor Martin and Councillor Hollister. So 5.2 being Tasmania Masters Games funding request. And we have all the information there, and the recommendation is there. If I could have a move, please.
So moved.
Second.
Councillor Murphy and Councillor Ennis. Thank you. Councillor Murphy.
Yes, Mayor. Look, very detailed report. The Masters Games was held here back in 2017.
That was the Australian.
That's the Australian Masters Games we had last year. We had the Tasmanian Master Games. Look, it aligns with the direction of council. It's not a significant amount of money. I think what it will bring to Devonport and surrounding areas, if it's able to achieve what it said it's going to achieve, will be significant. So, again, it's a wait and see thing, but I think, council has to make decisions from time to time to invest in these types of things. And, quite clearly, there's an opportunity for us to be involved. So I think we should.
Thank you. Councillor Ennis.
Thank you. Yeah, as Councillor Murphy said, it's not a significant amount of money to support this event, but as we try to be, support our region and our area, and what we can contribute here is doing part of that. So hopefully all the regions that are going to have people participating in all the sports or host the sports will all benefit from it, as well as us. So looking forward to a successful sporting event.
Thank you. Further comment, Councillor Barney?
Thank you, Mayor. A couple of weeks ago, there was a fantastic sporting event on in Devonport that almost took over the city in the Devonport Cup, and it was great. Like the place was buzzing. It was fantastic. So I know it's early days for the Tasmanian Masters game, and they've made projections on 1,500 participants, but they have to start somewhere. So hopefully they see that success and that participation, and we see the benefit to the city. So I think the $12,000 is a good investment into their program and into the Tasmanian Masters Games. Would also note that there's some in-kind value that council would be offering as well, which sort of bumps that up, and we'll be supporting as the council officers have suggested.
Thank you. Further comment, the councillors? Councillor Shane? Sorry, obviously.
Thank you. Yeah, look, I think sports tourism is a real winner for Devonport. I'd like to acknowledge all the work that Councillor Martin puts into the Masters Games. Wish him much success with it, and I hope it grows into something over time that's sustainable and long lasting.
Thank you. Councillor Moore?
Yeah, I just concur as well. It's an attribute to Devonport and the region that we have so many different places that we can stage this. If you're part of a sporting family and you go around Tasmania a lot, you would know that our grounds really are second to none in some of these areas. So I'm really happy to support this. 15,000 participants, multi-day, multi-place, centred around Devonport. It fits exactly into our strategic plan. Good luck to them.
Thank you. Councillor Wilczynski.
Just concurring with everyone else, it is a starting point, and I think we all have to start somewhere. It's regional, so it's not just Devonport, but we're leading by bringing it forward, and I think it can only but grow. I wish you all the best.
Thank you. Yes, if we don't get behind those things, to give them a start. So they've had 1 year and it needs to grow, of course, and we do want to see it becoming something that doesn't necessarily always rely on the funding coming through the councils. There is other external funding coming through from different sources as well. And if it can prove itself and actually make it an economically viable and sustainable event, it'll be great. Yes, we're an excellent area for this. Yes, it's going to be a little bit more sharing the love amongst other councils as well. But that's the way it works. Unfortunately, we're not a big city, so we don't have everything right in the one spot, but we're working on that. And at the end of the day, I think that if we can get this kind of information that we're getting from them, and they're improving all the time on trying to make this and grow it and get more sports here for this Masters Games, it'll be a great event. And it'll be another one that we can, say that's ours or we're part of, so it'll be good. So thank you. So I ask Councillor Murphy to close the debate.
Thank you, Mayor. Consider it closed.
All those in favour?
Aye.
Against? Carried unanimously. So we will ask our two councillors to return to the forum. Carefully. Thank you. Thanks, Mr. Sterling. Item 5.3 is the draft parking strategy 24 through to 28. There is been a lot of information to read and take in, a lot of work that's been done. So the recommendation is there. If I could have a move, please.
So moved.
Councillor Murphy and Councillor Shane. Thank you. Councillor Murphy.
Thanks, Mayor. This is just the report for this to go out public exhibition. There has been a lot of work done by the committee and a lot of survey responses received from the community. Now we're looking for a little bit more feedback before it comes back to us to be formally endorsed. It is worth noting, however, that one of the interesting ones obviously is that people don't like getting parking meter fines, and that's a big thing, and yes, they might think it's inappropriate. But interestingly enough, 4 out of 5 people use Easy Park. And I think this is significant with respect to the investment the Devonport community has made in becoming a smart city and a little bit more user-friendly. More importantly, it's becoming more cost-effective. So I await with some intrigue as to some of the responses we'll get throughout the exhibition period.
Thank you. Councillor Shane.
Yes, tidy work by Councillor Murphy over there, converting 78% to 405. That was one that I found interesting as well, particularly since we have a lot of senior citizens using them all. It's clearly not preventing them from shopping and coming to town and using council parking. The other statistic of note was the multi-deck was still a bit lower than I would have hoped. There's definitely more capacity there. I guess that's just a timing issue. Thank you.
Thank you. Further comment from the councillors? Councillor Bonnie.
Yes, thank you, Mayor. As a parking strategy, there's quite a bit to the document. I hope that people that are interested in parking take the time to read through it, because the simple solution of create more parking is not the answer. And that comes through the document of looking for alternative strategies to just having more parking. I think gone are the days of parking on Stewart Street out the front of the bank or wherever you need to be and walking in and out. But it's not possible anymore, unfortunately. So just saying there's not enough parking, it's too expensive. We probably want a bit more feedback and a bit more strategy to what we're trying to do in the future than that. Thank you.
Thank you. Got a comment? Councillor Baczynski.
Just further to that is that we're growing and we need to look at parking no matter a city's going to residential coming into the city. So there is a lot in the strategy. So I think there's 26 recommendations and it's worth good read. And we do need to find ways of getting people moving around our city and making it accessible and know where things are and how to use them. I think that's a part of the marketing. So I think it's good. It's good to go out and see what comes back.
Further comment? I think it's good to point out, back in the day when I worked at CMAX, and CMAX was blamed for all the parking issues because of that big building, and we only took about 12 car park spaces to create that building. I got very, very, very heavily involved in parking back in the day. And at the time, I remember the figure was 896 people worked in the CBD, and we didn't have enough car park spaces for those workers. Therefore, if you take away all the parking meters and all the parking tickets, unfortunately, all those workers would have a lovely time parking in our car parks and on the meters to go to work. And it's still the same. I note that there is 1,622 total spaces with our car park, our metered and our multi-level. There's a few RVs things as well, but 720 vehicles park in the free areas around the CBD to come in and work here because they don't want to park, which is fair enough. So at those 720, if we made everything free, they'd come in and take over the 1,622 first of all. Therefore, we would be limited in who could actually come and park here. So we need to be sensible about this. It's so easy for people to say, stop the parking meters, stop the parking fines. And it would be great. It won't work. We're growing. We're an amazing city that is going to grow. We want to grow, and this is why we have to work on these things and try to do them to the best of our ability and make things work for everybody. There will be times that we might try and do some offers of, free after 3 or something like that. We'll just work on those things after we get all this done. Who knows what we might come up with to try and do some incentives and try and help. However, we can't just obliterate this because it is what it is and we need to work with it. And I think working forward, getting all this feedback from our community and all the people is the way to go. And we have lots of strategies around that as well. We've got a road network strategy, a bike riding one, pedestrian signage and tourism as well, that all fall into how we make this work the best to our ability for our wonderful city that we love. So, therefore, I really put it out to people. We're putting this out to public exhibition. We do want to hear. We do need to know. And the best we can do then is bring that back to council and we'll go from there. Councillor Murphy to close.
Thank you, Nick. To close.
Thank you. All those in favour?
Aye.
Aye. Against? Carried unanimously. Thank you very much. Moving on to 5.4, we will say we could do to Councillor Mott for the moment. So 5.4 is the Department of Education have asked us for feedback for the Devonport Support Science School. There has been a lot of work going on. There's been a stakeholder committee working with parents. They're the most important people of this that we need to hear from. But now we have also put it out to community consultation and we're putting it through the council sector as well. And that we have a consultation request in relation to the future site. If I could have a move, please.
So moved.
Councillor Moore and Councillor Viney. Thank you. Councillor Moore.
Sure. As a city, we really want and we need the Northwest Support School in Devonport. It's a really important educational and wellbeing facilities that we want in our city. Last year, families and advocates fought pretty hard to keep this school from relocation. In saying that, Devonport does not have a huge selection of spaces that meet the criteria for both size and being near an educational facility. So I was happy with our response and I was actually happy to be consulted as well. and our submission believes that the Watkinson Street is the most suitable site, that it meets the criteria, and I'm happy to note and endorse our submission.
Thank you. Councillor Barney.
Thank you, Mayor. Just to reiterate what Councillor Moore's mentioned there, like it was really good one to workshop, I think, as a group, with the selection criteria being a minimum of 2 hectares, avoiding sensory overstimulation issues, not too close to industrial or transport activities. When you narrow it down, there wasn't a lot of choice with available flat land, and I think what we landed on with our recommendation near Don College is the most appropriate one. Thank you.
Thank you. Further comments? Councillor Ennis.
Thank you. Yes, I'm really pleased that there's going to be a consultation period for everyone to have their say on this. Unfortunately, the state government made the mistake of announcing that it was moving to Penguin, and then said we might consult afterwards, which was the wrong way around and not very sensible at all. So thank goodness wiser heads have prevailed, and that now they're going to consult before they make a decision about where it might be. Anyone who's been to the support school would know that it is not appropriate, it's not suitable, it's been sort of just cobbled together as they've gone along and trying to do their best. It's not appropriate, and our children and families of this region deserve a much better facility. And I'm sure, I know council has endorsed one of the two, endorsed both, but one strongly, and I think it'll be a great outcome for our city to have a space like that and a state-of-the-art, really good facility for our students. So I'm supporting. Thank you.
Thank you. Further comment? Oh, Councillor Murphy, sorry.
Thank you, Mayor.
Bye.
Yeah, I wholeheartedly agree with what Councillor Ennis has just said. It was disappointing where the state government has previously gone down that path, deciding to sort of cease processes and sort of go a different direction. This time, I think, hopefully, that the desktop analyst in Hobart doesn't have a final decision in this and actually listens to what's being put by Devonport City Council with respect to the location. We understand our community better than most, and we also understand the geographical space that we have here. And I think that location that is being recommended is far better than others that were proposed. So it was good to have the opportunity to be involved in that process, and I think we've come out with good outcomes.
Thank you. Further comment? Yes. Councillor Shane.
I will be supporting the motion. However, I'd just like to express the concerns that I expressed at the workshop around the rationale for the site criteria. Personally, I have reservations about the Watkinson Street site. I would have liked to have seen criteria that delivered a few other opportunities, that location. I don't want to muddy the waters, but I will just say that by putting it in Watkinson Street, you preclude any further development of Don College if and when they decide that very, very old, that building's so old, I went there. It's iconic. It's iconic. It's heritage, practically. It should be.
Stop it.
Anyway, it's really old, and it's it's made of concrete. It's going to need either a rebuild or a relocation to the site next door. I'm so happy that the support school is staying in Devonport. I'm so happy for the families that facility is staying here and not going to New England. But that doesn't preclude reservations I have regarding Watkinson Street. But as I said, I don't want to I don't want to hold anything up. I'll be supporting the motion, but it's with a really heavy heart regarding the locations that were offered, and some of those criteria I felt just gave us some really unhelpful sites. So thank you.
Thank you. Further comment? From my involvement, going back to days working at Devonport and going through different things that I've been part of and working with our amazing access and inclusion group that we've got here at Council very proudly. I'm glad that we stood up to the state government who made this crazy decision about Penguin before really understanding what they were saying to our parents here. It's hard enough for everybody in the mornings to get up early and get your kids ready for school, then add a disability, depending on what level of disability, makes it so harder, and then have to travel crazy amounts of miles for no reason. I'm really glad that we're keeping the campus in a Devonport area. Finding a site is not easy. That's the issue. 14 sites were looked at, and we've come down to the two most suitable that are available without holding them up for the next 5 to 10 years. And we've got to get on with this. The current site's just not suitable either. They've outgrown it. There are other facilities they're needing as well. So we've got to move this so that they can get it started. We need a DA as soon as possible for them. So I guess we've come down to the two sites that will at least make that happen. So it is not always going to be easy. Every site's not going to be 100% suitable, so we're just working with what we've got. And I am going to a meeting at Swain Primary School on Thursday night because the parents up there are wondering what's going on as well. So, I hope that they're listening tonight so they get an idea of what's going on from this sector, and we'll certainly be passing that on. I really think that the work we've done, the workshop, being with the stakeholder group, everyone is just listening to the parents. It's not about us knowing on behalf of the parents what they want. We are listening to them as well. And they are the most important people who are taking their children to a wonderful school, and they need to know that they're going to get a lot of respect shown. The incredible amount of money that they're going to be spending now is amazing, and I think it's going to be state of the art, and probably will encourage other people to come and move here, which wouldn't be a bad thing either. So I certainly am really pleased with this process this side after that announcement. So if I could ask Councillor Moore to close on that note.
Consider it closed, Mayor. Consider it closed, Mayor.
Thank you. All those in favour?
Aye.
Against? Carried unanimously. Thank you. We will ask Councillor Martin to return to the fray. Thanks, Mr. Skirving. We move on to item 5.5, which is the Event Sponsorship Fund Winter 2024. There is a recommendation there. If I could have a mover, please. Councillor Hollister. The second was Councillor Martin. Thank you. Councillor Hollister.
So recommend, as you say, we used to import program. I think it's very good. Last couple of years, projects that these Devonport childcare early learning is put on has been fantastic. We usually had a part of the program up in the stairs of the Parramatta, and it's been very well supported by the public. I don't think this one will be any different.
Thank you, Councillor Martin.
Thank you, Mayor. Yeah, there were two submissions for funding. The East Devonport Child and Family Learning Centre certainly stood out. The other submission certainly has merit and should be further investigated, but I think that needs a bit more work. As far as the East Devonport Child and Family Learning Centre, Emma Watkinson, or Watkins, it will be a great score for our community and for the centre. Former yellow wiggle and the first female wiggle Emma is also a strong advocate for sign language and is passionate about working with the deaf community, and is also a children's book author with the Emma Mema range of books. So I'd like to congratulate the Devonport Child and Family Learning Centre, and was following on from the work they've previously done with previous children's book authors such as Mem Fox, Maggie Dent, and the competition they used to run between the Devonport Library and their centre to encourage reading with all its participants at both centres. And of course, this project also strongly aligns Devonport Council's Live and Learn strategy. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Murphy.
Thank you, Mayor, and I wholeheartedly agree with Councillor Martin with respect to what Emma Watkins will actually bring to the kids of East Devonport. That's an exciting thing. And just for a little bit more context with respect to the unsuccessful submission, it is unfortunate, but obviously there is a criteria that we have to, and a process that we have to go through. And whilst the officer who wrote the report has stated that it does have merit, which it does, there's no doubt about that. However, when it comes to expending ratepayers' funds, we do have to follow some level of diligence, and that's fairly high. And subsequently, I think if the proponent was to resubmit a little bit more time probably available to him or them, that this type of event would be successful with a little bit more detail around how and why it would work.
Thank you. Councillor Shane.
Thank you, Madam. Very happy with the committee's recommendation for Emma Wiggins. It's great. I just had a couple of questions regarding the decision around the roller skating event. So as I understand it, Council set aside a budget of $50,000 this year to assist businesses and tourism survive the winter. As we all know, it's very, very tough on tourism operators over winter in Devonport. I get that feedback all the time. So as I understand it, we had a budget set aside of a grant of $50,000, and out of that we've spent just under $5,000, leaving a balance of $45,000. The committee has said that the roller skating, which as I understand it, runs in the first week of the winter holidays, school holidays, from Wednesday to Sunday, various times of day, ancillary activities, covering a fair few age groups. That needed more work. Well, I just don't understand what, not so much as a councillor, but as a ratepayer, I'm looking to council to generate activity over winter for business. If more work needed to be done, why are we sitting here now? Why was that discussion not had at the committee meeting? I understand neither of you were at the committee meeting. Is that right, Councillor Murphy and Councillor Martin? So I just really feel that the committee has not delivered a result that business would be happy with. I'm so disappointed, because this to me would have been an opportunity to workshop with the operator. Any sort of concerns that we had, yes, it has to be safe, yes, there has to be due process, but it's not a committee for a committee's sake. The committee's there to get things done, to be funneling these funds out to the community over winter when businesses need them. Name another event in Devonport over the winter holidays for kids. What else is there? And we had one there, and it's not happening. I'm sorry, but I have a lot of associates that are in business that rely on council to have a good, strong events program, and I just feel we've let them down. Thank you.
Thank you. Further comment? That's like Dennis?
Yeah, thank you.
You're on.
Yeah, I agree. I tend to agree there. When I had a look at it, I would think that this is this event sponsorship fund that we put together is new. I understand that. And it will probably take some time for people to work up their ideas or come forward or be brave enough to sort of say, let's try this, let's do that. And I think the fact that we are spending 5 out of the 50 that we had sort of set aside, and there is an opportunity here for something that looks like potentially would be a huge winner, and with students, families, not only of this area but around our region, to come and participate and be involved and come to people. We've got a lot of really good things here. What they probably don't realise is, how the extent of it. So people coming into our city or being involved in our city, this is an opportunity that looks like it's missed. So I feel the same as Councillor Sheehan in terms of it's disappointing that it's turned out that way. That we've only got one possible receiver of some sponsorship, and when there could have been 2, and it could have been really good for a broad number of people in our city.
Thank you. Further comment?
If I may, Mayor.
I'm asking for comment. Thank you.
I've got a question.
So,
I presume that this sponsorship opportunity will be ongoing, and the opportunity for those who have put in ideas would be able to work with council to improve them and to be able to meet the criteria that's been set by council for the expenditure of ratepayers' funds. Whilst everything may be great and wonderful ideas and bring it to the city, there is a criteria there, and we as a council are responsible for ratepayers and due diligence to make sure that it meets the criteria. So the question is, as I said earlier, there is opportunity for opponents to come back and reapply and work with council on projects such as the one that's just passed out.
Mr. Scotty? Oh, Mr. Atkins.
Through you, Mayor, to answer the question, yes, there's a budget allocation next year for a similar program.
And as a comment, I must say that Councillor Murphy and I did speak in regards to these projects together and the potential of both. It just wasn't done independently either. Thank you.
Councillor Murphy,
Thank you, Mayor.
you had a question?
I do have a question with respect to Councillor Sheehan's comments with regards to the DCCI's involvement. We have winter every year. It'd be interesting to know whether the DCCI had actually submitted any submissions for this funding and being aware of it with respect to supporting the retailers and potentially even more of them. If there's been any feedback from them. Unfortunately, COVID sort of comes at various different times. And additionally, as a comment, I sought advice from...
Was that a question? No, sorry.
I was asking a question as to whether the DCCI had been involved, or have they ever decided to put something together, a submission for funding to help the retailers in Devonport with an event.
Thank you for your question. DCCI aren't here tonight.
I suppose it was Councillor Sheehan's former president of the chamber.
Right. Okay, thank you for your question. That was aimed at someone who's not here. Any other further comments or questions, please, from the councillors? Is that all? Councillor Wilchinson.
That's the only thing I can say, that previously it was funding as a total events body outside of council as well by living on a certain area, and they did work with the commercial area every winter or seasonal. It's not there, so it's been gone for some time. Maybe it's time to reinvigorate something like that, or for our events group to try and involve the commercial area. Because we have had like the 100-year-old horse riding, whatever, and show, and there have been constant events for the commercial area. But it's very hard when it's a volunteer-run body without funding. So there's lots of potential that Devonport can have. We've just got to work out how we're going to do it.
Thank you. Councillor Moore, sorry.
Yeah, I just want to say that the idea of the roller skating is an excellent idea. But I really think school kids and I think families in the winter holidays would have loved it. In saying that, if you're not sitting on a committee, then we delegate that trust to the committee in this instance. But for the proponent, the person that did put in the application, I would definitely encourage you to put it in again and to talk to council to see if we could get this over the line, because it's a fantastic idea.
Thank you, Councillor Moore. I find it interesting that the whole reason of this exercise is after putting out event sponsorship for the winter program of 2024 was to encourage someone out there to want to put on something in winter. We try and encourage it. We do our own events. Council do a really good job with their events. We can't do everything. And we're trying to encourage people out there to come to us to put in a proposal. We work with them and we encourage. Obviously based on criteria. I understand that. We have to have criteria. However, I did read in here that the variations of the scoring were very significant. Not sure why. Also, the event, there was more clarity asked for. So my question through to Mr. Skirving, was more clarity asked for and was it brought forth to the committee?
Through you, Mayor, no, there were no formal resolutions from the Financial Assistance Working Group to ask for further information from the proponents. Not that I'm aware of.
No. Thank you. So I do find it interesting that we've got obviously some councillors that believe that it should be as is, and yet other councillors seem to think that it's a shame that we're not getting the chance to have an event for the kids like this. So I don't know whether the movers are happy to make any changes or they're happy with where it is.
I speak without closing the debate.
Sorry, you can't. No, you're going to be
So what are you actually doing?
closing
You're moving a procedural motion or not?
I have a
I
question.
can't.
There you
I have
go.
a question,
I'm the chair.
if I may,
Yes.
that if this motion is unsuccessful, another motion may be put forward,
Of course.
and that's the decision of council.
Yes.
But in background to that, you're looking at criteria that was set,
Understand.
etc. And I would think that the committee members, including Councillor Murphy and I, are not against any good ideas that are put up, as long as our job was to meet criteria. And it's not squashing or stopping kids. It's an event, and it had a criteria that be met. This one did meet the criteria and was suggested and put forward by the committee. To be putting that back on the committee, I think, is unjust and unfair. Thank you.
Thank you. So no further comments. Councillor Hollister to close the debate.
Well, I was actually available at the meeting. I specifically spoke to the point that we need more events like this in Margaret Square. there's a lot of time that's not utilised there. And I think in this, we did discuss it, and it was felt that we needed more information. The time frame was short. We staff are going to send emails to their two other appointment of the and right, this is what resulted in the end. So I believe, it is a good thing. We do need to do more there, as I said at the meeting, and but there was a few items that we need to find out, needed staff to find out, and I thought myself the time frame was too short.
Thank you. All those in favour?
Aye.
Aye.
Against?
Yeah.
So we'll get a show of hands, please. Those for, please raise your hands. Councillor Murphy, Councillor Wilczynski, Councillor Martin, Councillor Hollister, Councillor Viney, Councillor Moore, Councillor Shane. And against? Councillor Anderson, Councillor Jarman. So moved. Thank you. We move on to 5.6, the Home Hill study. The recommendation is there.
Move the motion that this business plan be further reviewed with the National Trust to ensure the plan is consistent throughout, with Council and National Trust fully agreeing and moving forward.
Seconded.
Thank you. We got that in writing. Have you written that down at all, Councillor Martin? Assist. Where did you get that? We'll just get that up on the screen and we'll go from there. Thank you. Easy for this happens. Thank you, Claire. Well done. There's no pressure. Councillor Martin, are you happy with that? Is there any modification we need?
Yes,
That's fine.
Yep.
Thank you, Councillor Murphy. You're happy with that?
Yep.
Councillor Martin.
Thank you, Mayor. I dispersed a letter from the National Trust to councillors over the weekend in regards to a letter from the National Trust, which was sent to the General Manager in regards that there are some recommendations in the report which the Trust does not support, and it goes on from that, but it basically sort of says it doesn't support some of the recommendations. I think that needs to be reviewed. There are spelling errors throughout the report, and the executive summary has inconsistencies and contradictory statements, as well as throughout the report as well. And if everybody's read it, I'm sure they would see that there are errors, especially when the executive summary states that Home Hill is nationally heritage registered, which is incorrect. And that's a big issue. Home Hill was originally on the register of the National Estate, and it was and is of course still in the archive listing, but was removed when the National Heritage List was introduced. The archive listing clearly states no heritage values have been identified that are considered to meet the threshold for inclusion in the National Heritage List. And Home Hill and National Trust are working towards reapplying for the National Heritage listing. So these inconsistencies and incorrect terminology or recognition, if that is left as is, would not go too far in any funding application for federal or state money. So I think this needs to be corrected, and I think it needs to have a look at the recommendations of both Council and National Trust together. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Murphy.
I agree with Councillor Martin, taking into consideration that this letter that was received from the National Trust of Tasmania was dated 21st of June 24. So I think with that information coming at such a late period, I think it's worth holding over this particular matter for review and then come back to Council.
Thank you. Further comment, questions from the councillors? Councillor Shane?
Thank you. Yeah, it would have been good if we got that little letter a little bit earlier. The concerns seem to be around parking gardens. I'd be happy. I'm not so fussed about spelling mistakes. I don't think that's going to break the bank, but I'd be happy to push it forward or delay it. But I'd really want to be comfortable we can keep moving on this and not sort of wait 6 months for a workshop to review it again. Happy to hear other councillors' thoughts on how quickly we think we might be able to review it in workshop, tidy up any errors and get cracking on it.
Thank you. Councillor Lonnie.
Thank you, Mayor. I was just going to ask a question with the sense of urgency on this report. Is there a timeframe that is delaying by a month or two going to track or be a disadvantage for the group?
Through you, Mayor. There's no great time pressure in regard to this report. It's an action that Council's had for some time to put together a plan on how the facility might move forward. I would add that we've been in discussions with the National Trust for 18 months now and been unable to reach agreement on a number of factors. So I guess just looking at the motion, if that's the outcome that we don't adopt it until there is agreement, I wouldn't like to put a time frame on how long that might be.
Councillor Wilczynski.
Through you, Mayor. I think, in fact, we had a workshop on the 4th of March, and I actually brought up at that time about the Heritage Register and other items that were of concern to the Home Hill in-house group that worked with National Trust. I think the thing we should look at is the Home Hill wish list that has been put as a attachment to the agenda tonight, and know that the inconsistencies are like unique guided tours, and you don't need a pavilion in 10 years. You need your pavilion up sooner, and it's like holding the artefacts in good condition. They're just sitting in a house. So we need better air conditioning. You need to respect it for what it is. So working together with the Trust and the Council and get project ready, because there is an election around the corner, maybe we can get it done sooner than later. So I would like to see it back to a workshop and work with the in-house Home Hill group as well as the National Trust and Council together. Thank you.
Thank you. Further comments? Councillor Martin, close.
Thank you, Mayor. We'll note in a letter that the Trust says it reiterates strong support for the conservation and management of key future developments and options as well as the conservation of the collection within the house. We have a state-of-the-art art storage facility in Lawrence Drive, and yet we have a facility as O'Neill that is not conserved as well as what we do with our art. And this is historic with this Tasmania's only Prime Minister and the collection that we have there. So for protection, conservation of that collection, I think the priorities need to have to be looked at as well as being put forward by the National Trust. Thank you.
Thank you. All those in favour of the resolution?
Aye.
Against? Carried unanimously. Thank you. We're moving on to section 6, which is information. 6.1 is the workshops and briefings held since. The recommendation is there. A mover, please.
So moved.
Councillor Murphy.
Second.
Councillor Viney. Thank you. Councillor Murphy.
It's all there for all to see, mate.
Thank you. Councillor Viney.
Thank you, Mayor. Nothing to add on that one.
Thank you. Any questions, comments from the councillors? Councillor Martin, your light's still on. Just that's right. Councillor Murphy to close.
Consider it closed.
Thank you. All those in favour?
Aye.
Aye. Against? Carried unanimously. 6.2 is the Mayor monthly report. 6.2, the Mayor's monthly report, sorry. If I could have a move, please.
So moved.
Councillor Viney and Councillor Ennis, thank you. Councillor Viney.
Thank you, Mayor. Another busy month. I'm interested to learn a little bit about this Hub 108, the community space in East Devonport that you attended the launch of.
The
Hub 108.
At where was I? Tarleton Street. It's wonderful. So they've got it was going to be Possibility originally was going to be there. That didn't come to fruition, so they handed it on, and it's become a wonderful area for housing. And there's also this wonderful space, and the space can be utilised for anybody across Devonport, and obviously a bonus for East Devonport because now they've got this function room. Mm-hmm. And it's already been well used by the East Devonport Community House. I think they've got bookings coming through, which is really great. There's a kitchenette in there. It's just a full little functions facility. You could probably seat probably 50 to 60 for meals if you wanted to. And the possibilities are endless, which is really great. Yeah, so it's really nice to be able to go there. And further from Councillor Ennis, thank you.
Sorry, I was going to ask you about that. I might have been. I've missed that. 108, Hub 108. Where did you say it was?
Tarleton Street.
Tarleton Street. And has it been publicised on council that it's out there?
Or I don't know. No. Check for you.
No.
Yeah, so 12 months ago, the housing was ready to go, but the
Right.
function centre itself, this was just the final icing on the cake.
Yeah.
Okay. Being open to the community there.
Yep.
I know we had all the organisations there, for example, on that side of the river, so they certainly do know about it and they're really excited about it, and they were coming up with all these really great ideas, which is really wonderful.
Okay. Nothing further. Thank you.
Any further questions? Councillor Murphy?
Man. Sound and light show preview. You've been there quite a bit. Is it that good? Just happened to notice that, you've been there quite a few times. I just thought I'd double check whether that wasn't just a typo.
Oh. What was the typo? Sorry.
On page 59, 5th point up, you attended the Sound and Light Show, and on page 60,
is it again?
You've attended the Sound and Light Show preview yet again.
Yeah,
so
I got
must
to
be pretty good.
I got to the first one that wasn't finished, and then we waited till Richard from Mandy Lights was there, so I could have a chat to him as well. And then we'll probably get another one.
I think we're having one tonight, aren't we, man?
There you go. Very exciting times. Thank you. Further questions? Councillor Martin?
Yes, Mayor.
Sorry.
Been busy, but I do note that there's an omission there that there's they had a TV interview with the about the spirits on the wharf with the Labour Party. Any reason why there's a mission?
No.
No?
No.
Fairly important issue.
Thank you. Further questions? Councillor Shane.
Thank you, Mayor. It's the walk through the mall with Peter Gutwin. I was interested if there were any actions or conversations that came out of that meeting in relation to strengthening ties with the international community.
Thank you. The International Cafe were there representing, which was wonderful. We didn't really get a lot of time to actually talk to Peter himself. They were interviewing people for what their thoughts were about what Peter was doing, and they videoed that. So they were kind of getting feedback, I think, for him to collate, which I guess was the way they were doing that. But he certainly was very pleased for the representation that was there. He did talk to me about whether he can do some more collaboration working with the two. It's kind of two titles that are a bit confusing. We've got Migrant Resource Tasmania and Migrant Resource North, and they're not the same entities. So that can be confusing for our migrants when they move here. And we're very proud we've got Migrant Resource North with 2 days a week here in our Perinacle Centre, which is a good start. Hope to grow that. And so I think that I did bring that up with Mr. Gutwin at the time, saying, how does this work? It's separate funding. Is there a way? And he said he would love to have more collaboration so that they could share resources and do things better together, which would be wonderful. So that was about all I got out of that at the time for the small minute that I was able to talk to him. He certainly, I think the wonderful thing that he's done, he's going to go back down there and talk to his board and go from there about how better he can do things from everything he's collated from Bernie right through, which would be great.
Would we maybe follow up with him in 6 months and see if there's anything that we can pull out of his exercise to boost what we're doing here?
Yeah, that would be wonderful. Thank you. Further questions? If I could ask Councillor Viney to close.
Yes, Mayor, consider it close.
Thank you. All those in favour?
Aye.
Aye.
Against? The item 6.3 is the General Manager's report. I could have a move, please. Councillor Sheen, thank you.
Second.
Councillor Murphy. Councillor Sheen.
Yeah,
okay.
I hope I'm not asking the same question Councillor Murphy might be asking, but apologies. Regional land use strategy. Did I get it? Surprised for that. Look, I'm not surprised we're on the same page here. It's such an important issue. Would you mind elaborating a little bit about the LGAT meeting? Thank you.
Yeah, look, through you, Mayor, the GAT have tried to bring together the 3 regions to move the progress along on the land use strategies. It's fair to say that there's been a bit of a disconnect between the 3 regions, potentially, and it hasn't been moving as quick as we would have hoped with the State Planning Office. So the GAT are trying to facilitate councils to get that moving and put some pressure on the state to try and get those strategies in place sooner rather than later.
Thank you. May I ask one more question? What does that pressure, in inverted commas, look like to you?
So we've only had 1 meeting so far, and Jason Brown from McLaren and myself are the representatives from North West. The first meeting was around just trying to identify what the key issues are, and there's a workshop planned in Campbelltown partway through next month. And I believe that the State Planning Office will be sending people along to that workshop.
Thank you, Councillor Murphy.
Just following on from that, post that workshop, would it be possible for us to have that as a workshop agenda item for feedback on that? Also, just interested to know whether councils will be getting information with respect to Trevor Shipton's request regarding some of the to improve the traffic safety intersection in front of Shipment Machinery in Coiba at some point in time in the near future, if we could, please.
Yeah, through me, we're just working through some options, and once we've got, yes, certainly there we'll be able to bring a report back to council.
Thank you. Further comments, Councillor Mark?
Thank you. Just interested in the sports memorabilia suggestion for a resident. Will that be including cycling memorabilia?
Through you, Mayor, it actually was someone was interested in find sure some of the history around cycling athletics. The oval was captured in the building. Look, I passed on to them that some of the other clubs that would potentially be down there also expressed an interest in having areas to display their bits and pieces. And at the appropriate time, we'd be back in touch. I think the thinking at this point is that it's probably more digital type displays rather than anyone turning up with a box of old sashes and trophies.
Yep. Thank you. Further questions? Councillor Murphy? You're right. Councillor Shane to close, unless you've got a question. Sorry, Councillor Hollis.
Just the new cost. When you further development about extending the place or extending the car parking areas down there. Car parking would be very good first. So that Sunday mornings when there's soccer and football on.
Yeah, through you, Mayor. Nothing further since the last update. I'm still working through the plans.
Councillor Murphy, watching you on off just for a second. Thank you. Thank you. All those, sorry, all those, what am I saying? Any further comment or questions? I'll ask Councillor Sheen to close. Thank you. Councillor Sheen?
Consider the matter closed.
Thank you. Sorry, could you not? All those in favour?
Aye.
Against? Carried unanimously. Thank you. 6.4 is the monthly operational report. Always interesting reading. If I can have a mover, please, of the recommendation.
So moved.
Councillor Viney, thank you.
Second.
Councillor Murphy. Councillor Viney.
Thank you, Mayor. There's quite a few notes I made going through this. It was a big, interesting month that's been reported on. I note that in 321, the Friends of the Don Reserve had a working bee, two working bees during May. That group do a wonderful job to maintain and help preserve the Don Reserve. It's such a great spot in our city, and so a huge thanks to that group. And if someone from the council can remind me the next time they're having a working bee to let me know. So I'd love to get involved with that and take my family down to help out. Yeah, I use it all the time. I'd lovely to give back a little bit. The NWBU basketball final was at the Devonport Stadium earlier in the month, and I went along to that. It's quite close to home. And what's the capacity of the stadium, Mr. Skirvington? Roughly how many people? 100.
Official through your Mayor, official capacity or
how many people were there?
At the events?
Yeah.
We did track that information down today.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to find the email for you now.
I'll go on and you can interrupt me. It was a great atmosphere. It was absolutely packed. Great final. As I said, so close to home. I was really surprised. I went and picked up a friend and we got a park, off-street park in, Archer Street, 100 metres from the stadium. It was packed. When we left straight after the game, I was like, this is going to be a nightmare getting out of here. It wasn't. We got in our car and I dropped him off at the hotel, the lovely new hotel that he was visiting in. Great for that event in our city. Can only be better with a new stadium. 341 coming up. This is 3.41. There's Music by the Waterfront, a free community event, new event in winter. Really looking forward to that. I'll let everybody know, all my family know, they're all invited because it's free. So they'll probably be there. If I go down a little bit further, for May, the biggest Facebook post for what's it called? When there's people liking and commenting.
Yeah.
Engagement. Biggest engagement was the wood rising footpath.
Go figure.
Fantastic. And I got really happy about that because that had nothing to do with me and I took a lot of credit for it. But I had a member of our community who lives down there who went out of the way to thank me and said she sees people using it all the time. It's a colleague at work and she noticed a student who has some, let's just say has some issues. I don't even know any more than that. And he's out using this footpath, walking his dog. She said she'd never seen him walk down there before. And it's such a little thing, but it just makes me proud. And it's a bit of footpath. And it makes me proud. It makes me happy that we can do this. Top Tassie town, Devonport, back to back. Positive, great thing that's happening in our community, something the whole community can be proud of. Saturday morning, I was down there for the winter solstice swim park run. There was such a great community feeling. Councillor Innes is at the park run every week, volunteering half the time. There's so much stuff to feel good and happy about, and yet I looked at some of these social media posts and it brought me crashing back down because of the negative, like uninformed, excuse my language, bullshit comments that people put on our post. And it pisses me off because there is so much positivity, so many good things that happen. To say that why should we be top tourism town, nothing goes on. I haven't got one of these, just looked over. There's a whole program of stuff that happens in this city and people just have to get off their arse and get out of their own negativity and stupidity and go out and find something to be happy about. Our city, you walk from the hotel down the river to the bluff, arguably one of the most beautiful walks in the whole. I've been around the world. It's safe. It's clean. It's beautiful. That is such an asset. That is what brings people into this city. And that is what we're trying to promote. That's what makes this a great place to live.
Absolutely. I agree.
That was all, man. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Binding. Mr. Skirty has an answer for you too.
There, 1,170 paying spectators with another 90-ish volunteers, players and match officials.
Yeah, max capacity.
Yeah. No, done. Councillor Murphy, do you want to top that?
That's going to be pretty hard to do, man. I can assure you. Although I don't know how you're up there able to do the writing after writing 676 certificates for volunteers, which is another extremely strong sign of a positive and welcoming community when you've got that many people out of 33 or 31 organisations that are actually volunteering in such a small LGA, which is it is significant. Not trying to be negative, but I'm a bit nervous here. It says here on page 84 that the winter solstice splash is on the 29th of June. I had to have a look at me. I'm not doing it again. It was cold. It was. But if I have to, I will. But that just must be just a typo with respect to the date, as it was on Saturday. And Councillor Moore was there, and our GM was there after running 15 kilometres to get there. He was in a hurry, so he needed to cool down after doing that. But yeah, look, it is. There's some really good stuff happening in our community, and this is such a great report. And I, like Councillor Viney, do thoroughly enjoy reading this report, especially with seeing how many people are participating in different things, especially the sauna use at Devonport Rec Centre, one user for 131 bookings. It's obviously people enjoy the sauna up there at the Rec Centre, so it's a good indication of how well the other one works. So,
Thank you. Councillor Martin?
Thank you, Mayor. I think this report really underpins our annual report that we've just passed and what this city presents. Touch on the base of what Councillor Murphy has brought out in regards to volunteerism. It's alive and well in our community, and the comments that Councillor Viney said put me in mind is get out and get involved with your community. If you're not involved with your community, don't get on the keyboard and say everything else sucks, because it doesn't. And the proof is here in this report, and the activities, not only that our not-for-profits such as the Don Reserve Committee, our Parkrun Committee, our sporting clubs, all the other not-for-profits, as you can see, the activities that are highlighted in here, I really do encourage those who are sitting on their keyboard, get out there and get involved with the community and make this and continue to make this a great place to live, work and play. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Moore, do you have your line? I'm sorry.
Yes, it's a question through you, Mayor. 3.1.2 is a youth mental health and wellbeing project. I just wondered if somebody could speak to one, where is the officer? Like, are they in council building or are they with the Tasmanian Mental Health Council? And also just wondered if you could talk to that project just a little.
Miss Hampton.
The project officer is based here at the council office and works within the community services department. So I've been assisting her to, I guess, get up to speed with some of the key networks and contacts that she needs to speak to. The project is around positive mental health and wellbeing with our young people. So we were engaging with schools, T4 engagement, Indy, Don College, St Brendan's, etc. The age group is 14 to 24 years that we will be focusing on, and the key outcome will be around developing some peer champions to work alongside their colleagues to identify positive mental health and wellbeing. I guess the positivity of engaging with each other as peers to increase positive mental health rather than looking at it in the deficit, which is what's been done traditionally.
Thank you.
Brilliant. Thank you. Hollister, I'm trying to keep up with the lights now. It's all going crazy. Councillor Hollister.
Just a comment on the tourism recognition 2 years in a row. The video that actually came out on that, showing all the different highlights around Devonport, I thought was fantastic. I don't know who produced it, but it was very good.
I think Mr. Dobson had quite a bit to do with that, sitting here. Majorly, actually. So I must say congratulations to Mr. Dodson and his team. Beautiful. Absolutely. Thank you. Councillor Ennis.
Thank you. I know it's been mentioned before, but we've actually got a picture of it now. For those of you who don't, get down the parish end of the walkway along the river. The cenotaph looks resplendent, and leading up to recent, it looks fantastic. It's been looked after and is a credit to us, the council staff, who make it look so good, and that's a good thing. So, yeah, for those who don't get to walk, run or ride their bike around near that area, you can see the photo.
Thank you. Councillor Shane.
Just a quick one there. We consider getting an Instagram page in addition to Facebook, Twitter and LinkedIn. Thank you.
Yeah, we'll take it on notice. I'm sorry. I'll keep up with what we've got and what we haven't got. TikTok. Education. Thank you. If I just make a comment, it was just wonderful to have the Governor and Professor Chalmers here, and a big shout out to Karen Hampton for organising a huge itinerary for the day. Massive event, the logistics of it, bodyguards, police, you name it. We had an entourage. It was amazing. She thoroughly enjoyed her time. Her excellency was very much taken with all the wonderful things she got to say. So really quick shout out to Loaves and Fishes, Home Hill, Devonport High School, Tudara, Bass Strait Maritime Centre, Devonport Country Club, Devonport Community House and Garden, the Light and Sound Show. She did visit while she was there. We went into the theatre, and we had a wonderful civic reception at night. And boy, did we put it on for them. It was just a wonderful, wonderful day. I was so proud of each and every one of everybody, how they brought more people there to greet the Governor and Professor Chalmers, and to make them feel so much at home and to really engage with them. It was just a great, great day. So hopefully we'll have many more of those type of things coming forward into the future. A big shout out to the Choral Society for the Full Monty. Sold our show. I think people wanted to have another couple of weeks of it. So they always put on a great show. They're going to put on another one at the end of this year, and, hats off to them. And a big thing, the convention centre bookings.
Hats off.
Hats off. Each month is exceeding the average bookings from the previous times. That is unbelievable. It's certainly proving a point. So really big shout out to all the staff that do all the work up there and around, and how we come across to people. That we only get the accolades of how professional we are, what a wonderful venue it is. The food is amazing. The superlatives just keep flowing, and it gets a bit embarrassing to the point where we're going, I've heard that before, isn't it amazing? It's just an exceptional function centre. And all the meeting rooms are booked out. Council can't get a meeting room. We have trouble booking our own centre.
The REIT tried it and they can't get it.
It's incredible. So that just goes to show that we've proven a point, and we're getting things that could have been in Hobart, could have been Launceston. Maybe we'll start doing things that could have been in Melbourne, who knows. But it's just great. So congratulations to everybody involved. If I could ask Councillor Viney after his wonderful statement.
Yeah, I don't know if it was a statement or an incoherent rant.
No, at all.
But I did miss one. It sounded like show privileged enough last weekend, whenever it was when we did the little preview. Took my family, so I have a 3-year-old and a 6-year-old. It knocked their socks off. Like, that was so nice to see. Just what it is. Like, it was so exciting. The kids were bouncing off the cars on the way home. And another colleague of mine caught the last bit of it and then asked me, like, oh, is it on? Like, when is it opening? When can we expect to see it? So on behalf of that colleague.
Very, 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 very soon. Between will we make it before the 20th of July, Mr. Skirden? We're working on it.
So through you, Mayor, there's been a number of dates proposed for an official opening. If that's and with our funding partners, which is an important part of the process to recognise those other levels of government that have supported the project. If that is too difficult to coordinate, then we'll look at having a community opening and then running an official opening at a later date. It's more convenient for those attendees.
That'll be a great night, and I'll definitely be there. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you.
Extra close.
Thank you. All those in favour?
Aye.
Against? Unanimously. Thank you very much. 6.5 is the minutes from the Devonport City Council Order Panel.
So moved.
Councillor Murphy, and second, please. Councillor Hollister, was that you? Thank you. Councillor Murphy.
The information's in the report, ma'am.
Thank you. Councillor Hollister.
Further answer, I'll leave. People agree.
Questions or comments from the council board? No. Councillor Murphy, would you
consider it closed?
Thank you. All those in favour?
Aye.
Aye.
Against? Carried unanimously. Thank you very much. Therefore, we have the closed session there. The recommendation is there. Thank
Second.
you. Councillor Murphy and Councillor Viney. Councillor Murphy.
New procedure, ma'am.
Thank you. Councillor Viney.
Nothing to add. Thank you, Mayor.
Any further comments?
Consider it closed.
Any further comments? Just make sure first. Councillor Murphy to close, please.
Consider it closed.
Thank you. All those in favour?
Aye.
Aye. Against? Carried unanimously. And therefore, we will be moving into our closed session. Thank you, everybody from the gallery, for attending our meeting. We're closing at 7:39.